one of your lecture. I welcome all of you for this session for research methodology. The task given to me by Ire sir is quite difficult while understanding uh, the research methodology. It's a kind of expertise that you get year by year by completing your PhD work. It is always said that PhD is the first step towards research. Your actual research starts after pursuing your PhD. But anyhow, our university has made it mandatory to understand a few of the research topics that are very important for research scholars, like how the research should be executed, or the selection of what we can say research topic, or maybe publication, where to publish. Simultaneously, you are also asked to write proposals for various funding agencies so that you can attract some fund for your research, and many more things are there into it. But what I thought is this particular lecture on research methodology, I should put into two parts. I hope everyone can see this. Part one, I'll be concentrating upon scientific communications and proposal writing. And part second, I'll be talking about these UGC care journals, plus the different citations and indices what are available to us, that we'll talk. And then also so-called the impact factors, which has gained a lot of discussion nowadays, and everyone wants to publish their articles into high impact journals, right? So what is the key to publish your articles into impact factor journals? For that, we need to understand what are impact factor. And of course, every movement for every sub points, what I'll do is I'll explain you about the pros and cons of the matter. Now, there is a basic question for everyone, that why research? Like we say, when it comes to science, we normally say that there should be a reason for doing something, and the same reason implies to you people as well. I just want to know that why you want to pursue research. Why not just stick with your basic degree and continue what you are doing? Why you have to go for research? And this particular question I have been asking for, say, around 15, 20 years, since when I was delivering lectures to PhD students. Everyone said that I want to do research for pays and perk. And if that is the case, then there is no need to understand the research methodology, no need to understand what research is, because you are just here for getting a degree, another degree which can enhance or improve your salary scale. Dear friends, if that is the issue, then I think there is something serious that you need to think over again. Because what research is the first thing into research is taught. I still remember my research days. The first lecture I had been I observed was of Dr. P.D. Chavan. He is a renowned physiologist, and he mentioned us that research, the first thing into research is ethics, and ethics comes from within. That means you have to have a belief that if I have to pursue research degree, then I should do ethical things into it. Maybe it may rely on to what communication you do to your guide, what communication you do to the society, and what communication you do to science. Everything should be in ethical way. And thus, the first thing what comes to us is communication. When we do research, we communicate something, and we communicate this to a larger public, and this public may be related to science or may not be related to science. Thus, whatever we write, you and we have to think onto it that this communication that we have written is understandable and it communicates something. There shouldn't be any kind of jargons into it. Jargons, I hope everyone knows, a sentence which is worth nothing to understand from. That form is known as a jargon, where you can't make out what is written into it. Tala artha nasto. That is what we call in Marathi. So we have to be away from such kind of things, and the communication, what you do, what you present, it should be meaningful. And research is for this cause. We are working for one particular cause, and that is science. And through your research, you will be communicating one or the other thing which is not known to the society or not known to us. You just go back to your research topic and try to find out what experimentation you are going to do and what are the objectives of your work. That itself will tell that if you have an objective of identifying some unknown compound from a least known plant, you will be saying that that plant has not been worked upon till now, and the compounds that I am going to investigate would be adding to the knowledge of humankind, wherein these phytochemicals or the plant compounds can be utilized for well-being of human. It may be for medicinal purpose, it may be for wellness purpose, or it may be for any health benefits. Okay, friends. So the first thing when it comes to research is ethics, and second is communication. And research equals to communication. Onto the slide, you will understand communes is to share. Communes means to share or to make it common. It should be known to everyone. Okay. The act of transmitting information for the purpose of creating shared understandings. So this concept is known to me, and this concept should be known to a larger audience. So what we do is we communicate it. Okay. And the means of communications are many. If you go to the older days, ancient days, it would be mostly verbal. From one person to next person, it would be transmitted in forms of words. It may be some kind of rhymes, it may be some kind of say poems or a literature, whatever it may be. It was in verbal sense. Days passed by from ancient to today, we see that most of the communication is on paper, and people do require this communication into a hard form, right? That's why we stress upon for publications. We stress upon that your articles, your manuscript should be published into good journals, so that the larger audience would come to know that what you have worked upon. Okay, so this in nutshell, we can say the communication is very important for us. Now, keep in mind, scientific communications are bridging between society and science. And I think most of the research scholars would say, or will have a doubt, that why sir has separated society and science into two different colors, and why we are bridging them on the basis of scientific communication. Keep in mind, students, that society is something we all live in, right? We live in a larger society, whereas there is a community inside the society who is working for science, who is trying to identify, trying to know what, where, how, and these questions are being answered by this community, science community. And this community has been given a responsibility that whatever you identify, whatever you know, should be given back to the society. And that's why, dear friends, we say that scientific communications are important. And where does these questions come from? These all questions come from society itself. So what we are doing is we are answering some of the difficult questions in the society, okay, and giving it back to the society, right? We are giving those answers back to the society. We are understanding their questions and we are trying to find out what solutions we can give, what best solutions we can give, what possible solutions we can give. Okay, for example, I'll tell you, uh, anybody from plant sciences who is working on to any medicinal plant or anything, you just can unmute and let me know. If not, I'll give you a direct example as well. Okay, I'll give you direct example maybe. I hope everybody knows this Catharanthus roseus, Vinca rosea. Vinca rosea is one such plant that every botanist would know about. And why it is known? It is known for a property of anti-cancer compounds, which is normally vincristin and vinblastin. Does anyone know that reserpine, a compound from Rauwolfia serpentina, is also present in Catharanthus roseus? Nobody knows that. Why? Or maybe a few handful of workers would be knowing this. The reason behind this is compounds, all these compounds, alkaloids, maybe phenolics, maybe flavonoids, or maybe any kind of terpenoids, these compounds are present in mostly all the plants. The level in which it is present into the plants is varying. And because of this, what happens is a weightage is given to that plant. I hope you are getting this. A weightage is given to that plant. Since vincristin and vinblastin was first discovered, since vincristin and vinblastin was first discovered from Vinca rosea, it gained a lot of importance, and then this plant came into limelight. People started saying that get up in the morning, chew 3 leaves of this plant. What will happen is you will see that you won't get cancer anymore. Okay, these kind of what we can say things came into existence. And by saying that, I'll go to my question again, where questions was raised by society, where people were asking that cancer has been a prevalent disorder. I won't say a disease, I would say a disorder into humankind, where earlier days people used to say 1 in a million. For cancer, they used to say 1 in a million cases you will find a cancer. And then now you see every 10th or every 8th or every 5th person is having one or other type of cancer. How frequently this has changed? And what is the question behind that? The question says why it is happening. And if so, if this is happening, what we can do, what we can do to control such kind of things. So there are larger and wider groups of scientists working on such components, where they are trying to answer. Probably there are few answers which are coming into limelight to answer such questions, that how cancer increased. And every one of us know the reasons, the habit that we have, food habit, or maybe the lifestyle in which we are going through, are the main reasons which are causing such kind of havocs, or such kind of events into the society. And to this, dear friends, we even have lot of solutions available for. And now we know that cancer can be cured. There are many plant-based medicines as well as synthetic medicines which can help to reduce the level of cancer cases. Okay, and these are the findings from scientific community. We have given back it to the society. Every time you need not go for a surgery when there is cancer. You have now medicines with you which can help prevent cancer. Okay, so on this note, I would like to tell you that yes, whatever questions come from society, we tend to give it back to the society, with the means of scientific communications. You go to Google Scholar, or you go to Google and try to find out how many publications are there onto cancer itself. You will see that majority of work conducted is based on cancer, and this is the reason what I have told you just now. Okay, so that's a example that I wanted to mention here. Next, scientific methods. Now, what is scientific method? Proper method that we identify. Okay, a proper method that we identify to work out for our research is that method. Okay, then how it goes? First, what you do is you observe it. It is very basic. We have been taught into our BSc classes as well. What you do is, whatever aim is there, first try to put an experiment, try to observe it, question it back. Why, how, when? Question it back and try to find out a tentative hypothesis. Propose a hypothesis. Okay, then you make predictions about unobserved phenomenon. Maybe light is working onto it, maybe temperature is working onto it, maybe there is need of water, need of air. All these predictions should be added to it. These are all phenomena should be added to it. Then you go for test by making these observations. Putting all these observations, you take a test. Making a test is nothing but put your experiment. And now you try to see whether your hypothesis is working correctly. If it is not working correctly, then reject this hypothesis. It is always good. Not every time we as a research scholar, we have a prejudiced mind into research, that whatever we put an experiment, we should get 100% clear and positive result. It shouldn't happen. No, results should be negative at first instance. Then and then only you will gain some experience out of it. And gaining experience would lead to good results, positive results, which led to, I say, which won't force to. And what we do is we force to positive results. So you put 5 carrots into MS Media, and what you expect, all the 5 carrot explants so should produce new plant. So why not? Carrot will produce. Even carrot, you eat a carrot and put a piece of that carrot into a dish of water, you will see all those 5 pieces will produce a new carrot plant. There is nothing novel into it. But when you try the same thing with other plants, does it work? It doesn't work. Why? Because the response of these plants will be totally different from what carrot is showing. Carrot has that benefit. Carrot has that totipotency level high. Any cell of carrot can produce a new carrot plant. Okay, but that doesn't happen in all of the plants. And you try to question then why it is not happening. What is the barrier which is not allowing these plants or the plants to grow into in vitro conditions? Okay, all these questions will lead to a better hypothesis and a better research. Now, moving to the next part, let us try to see the scientific communication part. How we should define or how we should go into research. First, you will define the question. Definition of question is very important. When we say about definition of a question, keep in mind there should be some amount that you have spent on to its background as well. कुणी केलेलं आहे का? If somebody has worked earlier onto this, or any group is currently working onto it, not necessary that you will be the alone person working onto your question. At the same time, there may be many different groups who will be working onto the same question as well. Okay, so you need to have a thorough reference done for this. You have to go by literatures to find out that whether this question has been already addressed earlier. If somebody has addressed it earlier, no need to do it again and again. just for the sake of PhD, just for the sake of research, like I said into the first slide itself, that you want to do research for just pays and perks, don't do it. You should have from within that yes, I have to pursue my research to answer some of the prestigious questions that my community is asking for, and I should be happy at the end of the day that I have been contributing something to this. Okay, I'll give you a just one thing came to my mind, so I should share it with you. I was working with Dr. Yadav on a project. I hope Dr. Yadav is known to you. He is a famous taxonomist at Shivaji University. He retired. He's still working, but it happened that during my PhD, I had an opportunity to work with Dr. Yadav on to a project on to domestication of some wild ornamental plants. So we identified some, rather he identified some plants, okay, and onto these plants, two of us were working, uh, and I was new to research. My guide never asked me about what you are doing, how you are doing. He used to say that put an experiment, find out the result, and let me know the result. And end of the day, he used to say, maybe my research topic was on to medicinal plants, and it was on to in vitro studies and phytochemical analysis. It used to take some 15 days to complete one experiment. So at end of 15 days, he used to ask what was the result of your experiment, and I used to tell my guide that so and so thing is the result. And then he used to say that this is bad, this is not into our parameters, you try to put a separate experimentation onto it. So and so the PhD continued, and that level was somewhat comfortable for me. Meanwhile, when I joined onto project with Dr. Yadav, he used to ask me daily, not only me, every student of his, including me, he used to ask us daily that what is your contribution to science today? And we used to discuss next day morning that how is this possible that every day he is asking us the same question, what is your contribution to science today? How come in one day we will be contributing to science? But later on, it came to our mind that he was just pushing us. Not every day you have to contribute to science, but you should be thinking continuously that what kind of what we can say contribution we can give back to science. That idea of his was continuously there with us, saying that yes, we need to contribute something to science, and on that basis we try to uh, give back to society, we give back to scientific community, we give back to research scholars, different methods, new methods. We published many articles onto that, what shouldn't be done, I have published that also. If anybody is doing wrong way, that shouldn't be done in that way, that I have published. Okay, you can go back to some of my publications and get that ideas. So going back to scientific communication path, define the question, go back to the research, try to question yourself that what you are going to do, gather information and resources, formulate a hypothesis, perform experiments and collect data, analyze the data, interpret and draw conclusions from new hypotheses, and publish and communicate results. So, the last part, the seventh part, is very important to us, and we say that we all are trying to, what our target is to publish and communicate results. Never I have found a person who says that my aim or my objective is to answer the questions raised by the society. Never. What we say that, we say that my end of my path, I have to publish some articles. Yeah, you must be saying that this person has many papers to his belt, and now he's saying don't concentrate on publishing. No, you have to have a publishing criteria into your mind, communicate the results rightly to the wider audience. But at first, what you have to answer is whether you are giving something back to the society. So define the question is the right way. Try to discuss it with your guide. Try to discuss it with others as well. There will be critics onto it, and there should be critics onto your topic. If there is no critics, that means nobody is interested into your topic. Keep in mind. Okay, so there should be some critics coming out from onto your topic. Then you start with gathering the resources, who is working, where people are working, what kind of work they are doing, everything, blah blah blah. You can collect, formulate a beautiful hypothesis, and try to work onto that hypothesis. This would be your scientific communication part for your publication. Now, I'll just change gears to research projects. First part was mostly related to your PhD things. When research project comes, it is more of a similar kind of work that you do into your PhD work. Okay, the only thing separates the research projects from your PhD work is the funding part. Into research projects, again you start with a question known as why research projects. Huh? And most of the people who want research projects will say that will add something to their resume, that I have a 30 lakh project with me, 50 lakh project with me. And second thing, they'll say I'll get some money, and that money will help me to do some kind of research. This the second part is not very what we can say very wrong. It's not very wrong. Why? Because if you have to do research, you would need some amount as well to buy the chemicals, to hire some analysis charges or anything. Okay. Then plan. The next thing comes to it is plan to put your idea in a written form. There will be many discussions onto the chai table where people would come with ideas. अरे ऐसा किया तो अच्छा रहता. We would have worked in this fashion. We would have had different results out of it. Such kind of discussions come when people are discussing onto vague topics, and we forget to note it down. And this goes in the vein. If there is an idea with you, try to pen it. I always tell my students, what you do if you have having a Friday discussion forum. I hope everyone knows this Friday discussion forum. Most of the research scholar with their guys, they sit on onto a Friday every Friday and discuss what they have done in all the 6 days or 7 days, whatever they have done. They discuss with their guide and they move further for. That gives you idea that whether whatever I'm doing in the right way or not. Your mentor, your guide will help you, let you know that yes बाबा, इस हफ्ते तूने ये किया है, ये गलत है, you have to do it the other way. He'll let you know. Okay, he is there for mentoring you. Okay, so try to put it onto a paper and then maybe discuss it. To start with, let us for a research project, we'll give basic questions. The basic question is of two types: giving and taking. Why? Because any funding agency who wants to sanction a project to you will ask one question, that is what you are giving and how much you are taking. So they are going to fund you, right? So if you want 20 lakhs from them, then they'll ask you what back you are going to give us. And you can't just say that I'll give you 2 papers, I'll give you 3 papers. That papers are not of importance to them. What they want is what better than the papers you can give, what best than the papers you can give to them. And that would be nothing but answer to the solution, or sorry, questions, the answer to the questions raised by the society. Okay, and for this you need to ask these questions: why I am doing this project, why I am submitting this research proposal, when I am going to do this research, what time I am going to do this research. So when would be that kind of question. What I am going to give or take from the society to the funding agency and to the scientific community. What is very important question. Who is going to do it? The funding agency will ask, if I want to fund you, तुम्हाला जर मला पैसे द्यायचे असतील तर why I have to give fund to you itself? Why not other person? There may be more than two people who will be applying for similar kind of project to the funding agency. So you are working on two anti-diabetic properties of some plants. Some other group also would be working on to the same anti-diabetic compounds of some plants, and both are applying for a research project. Then there is a question to this funding agency: whom I should give it, whether us or the other person. And they want to they want to see who is better in getting the results. And how they will evaluate it? Based on their previous records, based on the research what they have done, whether that group has certainly delivered better results. If so, they'll blindly give you. If you have given better results than the other group, they'll blindly give you this research proposal. But if you are competitive but not have delivered, then they'll think twice. They are competitive, they are able to do, they have expertise, you have expertise, but till now you have not produced any good results. There, if they ask you to present, you should present in that way that you have better people with you who can come out with the results. And always say that we have a plan A as well as plan B as well. If plan A doesn't work, if plan A doesn't work according to the hypothesis, we have an alternative hypothesis as well. We are prepared for it, and simultaneously we will be working on to plan B, so that by any means, I won't say by hook and crook, that word is very bad here, but by any means, ethical way, we'll be trying to come up with the results which would help justify the funding that you are providing us. That should be your comment when you are in front of any funding agencies. And lastly, they will ask you where you will do your research work. Even your mentors ask you, if you come for PhD recently, if you have joined for PhD recently, they'll ask you one question: where you are going to do your research? You are going to do a full-time research into my lab, or you are preferring some other labs? And then this justification is also important. If it is onto the research project level, the funding agency will ask you where you are going to do. You are going to do it into your laboratory itself. Whether you have all the facilities required for the project into your laboratory, whether it is possible, all machinery, all chemicals, all manpower, everything is there with you. If so, you are good enough to do it. If you are not, then the project goes to someone else. So, dear friends, I want to mention here that whenever you are writing a research proposal, or maybe you are writing answers for your coursework onto research proposal, you should attend such questions by saying that there should be give and take kind of columns which should be made. Then you should ask some basic questions: why, when, what, who, and where. Okay, so that gives you a complete idea. And then your project should have answers: what you are proposing, how you plan to do it, when you plan to do it, how much it is going to cost. So these four questions and their answers will justify your credentiality to apply for any research funding. And lastly, at the bottom, I have written one question: why? Why you? Be prepared by the answer. Why you? Why shouldn't I give to anybody else? So you should have that courage in justifying that why yourself, why not others. Okay. Then there is a checklist as well. Most of the agencies, most of the good organizations, national level, international level, they uh, follow one checklist known as IDA. IDA is attention, interest, desire, and action. You try to identify a topic of funding which can attract attention. Like, I'll tell you, if today I have to write a research project, I would write on HMPV, which is a burning issue, right? We recently experienced COVID in last four years. We know uh, the impact that such viruses can make, and now with China giving us another what you can say threat or another virus into our human kind, that is HMPV. I should write a project on HMPV because it is into attention. It will create a attention of the funding agencies. Now, this should be in the interest of the funding agencies as well. If you are writing a proposal on HMPV, where should you send it? You can't send it to MOEF, Ministry of Food, Forest and Environment. We can't send it to such kind of agencies. You have to send this to agencies such as ICMR, where people are working on to virus. Okay, or you may send it to special calls of DST and DBT, where they'll ask you novelty, where they'll ask you projects on the recent outbreaks and other kind of things. Okay, so interest is also very important. If it is falling on to their interest, then you can do it. Then the proposal should show some kind of desire from the principal investigator. What is desire? He is able to do it. Yes, I am very able to do it. Huh? I want to do it. That desire should be there. And I'll get some results. That desire should be there. So, desire is very important. And lastly, how you are going to plan your action. Here, most of the people who apply for funding fail. Why? Because they don't have a plan of action. Like I tell you, when I used to write my research projects, what I used to do, I used to keep two objectives. Uh, First objective, into objective section, जैसे first there will be title of the project, then you will have objectives, what objectives you are planning. So into objectives, I used to write two types of objective. One, I used to name it as core objective. Core objective is something which I'll be concentrating upon based on my title of the project. And second, I would write a tangential objective. Tangential objectives are objectives which will be coming tangentially when I am working on to core objective. You're getting it? So likewise, I used to define my objectives. And the same objective at the end of my proposal would give us an action plan. What I am expecting out of this particular core objective and what I am expecting out of this tangential objective. That action plan I used to define. So IDA, every time keep in mind that AIDA, I have to mention AIDA into all of my research projects. You mention this, you will have a consolidated, beautiful project at your hands. So that was IDA for you, dear friends. I hope I am not boring you too much, but these parts are very important when you go for research. There are small things which will help. Understanding background of the funding agency. Like I said, if I have to write on to conservation aspects of plant, try to go towards MOEF. Try to go towards ROFORD kind of funding. Try to go towards funding from